Hey everyone, Ahri Effect here. For the last few months on stream, we've been working on unlocking the achievement called the Necromancer, which you can obtain by completing the Palace of the Dead solo with no deaths. And it's been quite a journey. It took me about 3 real attempts, but in reality, it took a few more than that. And you can kind of guess how it went.
Okay, drill is up finally. Let's go.
Here's the thing, we don't have to focus on getting Necromancer, we just focus on beating my PB. My personal best is 199. So as long as we beat that PB, we get Necro. Smile. It's just that easy. Maybe I'll do super pot here. Okay. Man, this shit's so paper. Okay, so once you actually start thinking about doing your solo run, there's two things that I would make sure that you do in advance. Number one is you're going to want to make sure that your Aether pool is at least, I'm kind of lowballing it here, you want to have at least 60 in both tiers of your Aether pool. Now, Aether pool is essentially just eye level in simple terms. It's just Palace of the Dead eye level. This system also applies to Heaven on High. Essentially, what you're doing is spamming the 51 through 60 set with a matched party over and over again. It's very grindy, not fun, so level jobs while you're doing it. But essentially, what it does is it boosts your eye level in Palace, which is very, very essential to doing a successful solo. Um, I know that it's very possible to solo these early floors with lower Aether Pool. It's doable, but I would not recommend it because it's just not fun. It takes longer, and you die faster, you do less damage, and it's just overall not a good experience. So I would recommend just grinding up your Aether Pool a bit, and while you're doing that, you're also completing a second requirement, which is to acquire an item called Empyrean Potsherd. And I think in Palace they have a different name. But either way, potsherds are the way that you get access to an item called sustaining potions, which are an absolutely necessary item on every single job, no matter what you're playing. That lets every single job completely sustain any encounter by having a permanent heal over time effect that lasts 15 seconds. And if you don't have potsherds, you cannot buy sustaining potions. So getting your Aether pool up basically completes both of these objectives at the same time. Do you need sustaining potions in the early floors? Honestly, not really. There's a few cases where if you pull a couple enemies at the same time and you have Gloomon or something, you might be able to save yourself or make it a little more comfortable to sustaining potion. But the main reason you want them in the early floors is that some of these bosses, um, like you can see on this clip here, he automatically hits you with a stun, and then he has some follow-up damage, and some players that have lower Aether Pool may die if they don't have a sustaining potion running. Um, but even though it's not necessarily required to have these in the early stages, they are definitely required the further up you go. So don't ever flake out on getting sustaining potions. Another thing to be taking note of while you're doing these early floors is you want to kill more enemies than is required to leave in the sub 50 floors. The reason why is your job has to actually level up while you're soloing, and a job like Machinist does not have access to drill right away. But if you instantly leave every floor as soon as you're able to, your character is not going to have enough experience to make things feel nice. It's going to feel like you don't have Aether Pool again if you're underleveled. So take your time on the early floors, even though they're very boring, and just make sure you're overkilling every single floor so that way you can get your job strong actions as soon as possible. Okay, so around the 50 floor mark, you're going to notice that things actually get a little easier for about 30 to 40 floors. But either way, I still wouldn't recommend just wall-to-walling unless you're on a tank job, and just still kind of take things slow and run along walls. But you don't have to kill every single enemy on every floor at this point because you're already level 60. I would still recommend using food though. The amount of damage that you get from using food through an entire hour is pretty significant, and it also gives you a lot of health. No matter what floor you are on, traps can always catch you off guard when you're not paying attention. So even though the floors are pretty easy, I still maintain at least a minimum level of focus. That way I don't get memed. But even doing so, there are times where I've been killed when not paying attention on these early floors. Another thing to take note of is that not all jobs can deal with mimics in the same way, and on these early floors, you're still able to burst and kill mimics before their infatuation cast goes off. But as you start getting a little higher up, pretty soon you're going to have to start dealing with the pox that they give you. But burning your purities over early level floor pox is not really something I would ever recommend. Other than that, though, making sure using sustaining pots on bosses and not completely ignoring their mechanics should be all you need to get all the way up to floor 100. Another thing you want to do is, if there are really nasty debuffs and you're still on an early floor, like no items blind or no items gloom or something, don't be afraid to use a serenity or something to save yourself from losing a run. A full inventory hasn't saved anyone ever if you don't actually use anything. So, oh, wow, that guy came into the hallway. Okay, this is not good. We're actually going to do this. Oh no, I used the wrong button. Okay, so 100 plus in my run was actually pretty comfortable compared to what other kinds of stories people have been saying lately. As soon as Endwalker came out, the stat squish made the, I guess I'll call them mid-game floors, they got quite a bit harder after the stat squish. So this would account for floors about 80 through 140. They don't feel as difficult as 150 plus as far as enemies and how hard they're going to stat check you, but there is a noticeable jump in difficulty when you're doing these sets now, as enemies take much longer to die, bosses take much longer to die, and they seem to also hit you a little bit harder. So the one unfortunate part of going for Necromancer in 2022 onward is you can't really brain off as hard as you did before, but this isn't meant to serve as a deterrent or scare people away from trying it. As long as you're focused up and adhering to the principles of soloing deep dungeons, running along walls, not overpulling, using potions if you get low, popping a Serenity if it's double bad debuff, as long as you're still focused up and not like just turning your brain off and losing focus, you're not gonna die. Um, Another thing is these floors tend to not be as unfair with their wall traps as opposed to some of the earlier floors, which are absolutely brutal. There still are some, but either way, it's not nearly as bad or as RNG. This Necromancer run in particular that you're watching here, the two previous runs that I had failed died on floor 97 and floor 36, which are completely random low-level floors that were completely ruined by very insignificant factors that could have been solved by just paying a little bit more attention. Um, the first of which being a silver chest blowing up into a landmine on the ground. The second being a no items floor where I overpulled enemies and just completely disrespected the content and died promptly. You'll see a clip of that pretty shortly. Another thing that I would recommend is after about 150 onward, you're going to start using at least a steal on every boss. I know you can kill Tricephane without a steal on Machinist, but I still would recommend it if it's your first time there. And then once you're a little more cozy with it and timing your super potion, go ahead and drop the steal. So one thing that doesn't get discussed that much in Palace and HOH is how you can use your raising commanders offensively. There's two main ways you can do this. One, you can check a whole bunch of chests, and let's say you use a rage, right? You have a whole bunch of chests everywhere, but there's really bad debuffs. You can check all of the chests, even if you spawn mimics,
power saver mode's on. That was
to
annoying.
actually see what's inside on a very late floor, and then you can let the mimics kill you at the very end. So you can basically use raising as like a safety net. You're like, I want to check these 6 chests because I really need items, and if I get a mimic, oh well, I just pay this raising commander for the privilege to check all these chests. So that's one way where it's really useful, but you can also use it as a budget concealment and sneak past treasure rooms that you're not meant to get past without killing your way through them. Okay, if I do a play and it doesn't work, I actually lose this file instantly, so... Thinking. I'm gonna do it.
Holy shit, dude, I just saw that. Yeah, that dodge was fucking Demo Mystery.
Dude, that play! Oh my god, it worked! Oh my god, I'm a problem! Oh, I get the racing back! Let's go! Dude, that was insane. Okay, so the last couple bosses of Palace are extremely complex by comparison to the rest of the run. And luckily, we made some pretty big errors this run, but they weren't big enough errors to result in me actually losing the file. We were able to bring down Behemoth with only losing an extra strength steal because I died. And Godfather was very fucking close, but ultimately we got that clear as well. One thing that's very important is learning how to use rage pomanders, specifically in the later floors, where you find the exit as fast as possible and using the rage to clear the first floor and the floor that comes after. I have a pretty solid clip of this exact phenomenon in the final set of my Necromancer run, where we use a rage pomander to clear one set, as well as the next floor that has a ton of bad debuffs that we don't want to deal with. This type of usage of the Pomander is, I would say, almost required to clear Necromancer. Oh, okay, this is actually interesting. So this is interesting. We have a floor that I would normally Serenity, but I think I might be able to do this with just this Rage. I'm trying to find Alluring. We want Alluring right now. We're praying to God I walk on Alluring. Yes! Okay. We need to kill everything here. We need to be fast. This guy needs to die. Okay. Okay. We're out. Okay. If we get no items, it's kind of over. Wowee. That's some damage. Oh. Ah, shit! Sika Bjat! After dying on a floor 198. Right after that, dying on floor 199. After several months of grinding and trying to get this all done on stream, finally, we made it again to floor 199. And this time, we had ample time on the clock, and we had 3 Rezo Pomanders. And to finish it all off, we found a Serenity Pomander in the final chest in the spawn room. And the end of the journey came really quick, and it was really overwhelming. I really thought that I was going to choke on the last floor, but no, it was a very simple process of just clearing everything out with the strength steal on. And I wasted no time just running as fast as I could into that exit. And just like that, even though it was over the course of months, I finally got the clear. And at the time, it was the most viewers I'd ever had on my stream, so it was a really magical moment for me, knowing that at long last I could just relax, sit back, and focus on helping other people.